Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here. And in today's video, I'm going to give you an update regarding the IRS stimulus checks, the SBA loans, which of course would be the EIDL and the PPP, as well as the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, which is basically the unemployment assistance program for those who are self-employed or independent contractors. And if you live in California, you can apply through that program as of this morning, which is Tuesday, April 28th. And I'll go over that later in the video. So first, let's go over the IRS stimulus checks. So the IRS just announced just a couple of days ago that they updated their Get My Payment application online over the weekend. So a lot of you have been experiencing issues with their online portal. Hopefully those have been at least somewhat resolved. I'll go over some FAQs that the IRS just announced here in just a little bit too. The IRS stated that over 90 million Americans have received their funds already. And some of you have been reporting on my videos as well who have received actually paper checks in the mail. So that's all a good sign. But I know a lot of people are getting error messages still, and I'll go over that here in just a little bit. So if you received a stimulus check or stimulus funds in the mail or through direct deposit, you will receive a letter that I found online that is on the White House letterhead. It says the White House, Washington at the top. And it basically says that your economic impact payment has arrived. It says our top priority is your health and safety. Basically, this was passed because of the CARES Act. And at the bottom there, it tells you the dollar amount that you are qualified for, and then how are you going to receive it, whether it's direct deposit or through a stimulus check. And at the bottom, it's signed by Donald J. Trump, our president. Obviously, this is a marketing tool. Some people actually will believe that Donald Trump actually sent them this funds. So pretty remarkable. For more information on your economic impact payment, please visit irs.gov/coronavirus or call 1-800-919-9835. There's that. All right, so let's talk about some frequently asked questions and what the IRS has updated on their website as of Sunday. So they actually added some new FAQs or new answers as of Sunday. So it says, those who normally do not file a tax return and receive Social Security Retirement Survivor Disability Benefits, SSDI, Railroad Retirement Benefits, or SSI, and VA compensation and pension also will receive automatic payments of $1,200. And it also says here that many people in these groups are expected to see the automatic $1,200 payments later this month. At the time of this video, it's the 28th, so maybe you have already received some of your funds already. But it says that if you are with SSI or VA, if you receive those type of payments, expect to receive your funds to start in May. So you're not going to receive your funds until potentially next month. And you'll receive your funds whether it's the same way you receive them now, whether it's direct deposit or through a paper check. All right, so some of you have been reporting that you're getting this error message, a lot of people have, that says payment status not available. So payment status not available on the IRS website. This could be for several reasons, is what IRS is stating. So including, if you are required to file a tax return, but we have not finished processing your 2019 tax return. So if you just recently filed your 2019 tax return and it hasn't been processed by the IRS, you may get this error message, payment status not available. Also, maybe the application hasn't updated your data yet. If you don't usually file a return and you're getting this error message, then it may be for a few different reasons. It says that you use the non-filers enter your payment information, but they haven't processed your entry yet. In addition, it could be because you receive SSI or VA benefits and the information has not been loaded into their systems yet. In addition, you may also get this payment status not available error message if you are not eligible for a payment at all. And to me, that's ridiculous. I think they should have a different error message that says you are not eligible rather than saying it's not available yet. It doesn't make any sense. It also says if you received the payment status not available, you will not be able to provide direct deposit information at this time. And they're working on updates to add that at a later date. And again, a reminder, they only update their system once per day at night. So do not continue to hit refresh. Do not check multiple times a day. It's not going to help. Just check every morning if you can. Another question here, where did the IRS get my bank account information? The IRS says that is captured from your most recent tax return if you received a refund by direct deposit from your 2018 or 2019 taxes. So they get your bank account information that way. Also, they would get your bank account information if you entered your information on the Get My Payment app or the non-filers web portal on the IRS website. All right, so it says if my bank account information has changed since I filed, can I update it on the system? And the answer is no. They want to mitigate the risk of fraud. They want people going in there and changing people's bank account information and redirecting it to the other people. So you're not going to be able to do that. All right, let's talk about the SBA. If you go onto the SBA's website, which is sba.gov, then you'll actually see on their first page on their website, it says the SBA is hiring temporary employees to assist with disaster relief efforts. So clearly they need more resources in order to process these thousands and thousands of EIDL and PPP loans. So let's talk about the PPP, or the Paycheck Protection Program. Again, this is the program that you can get funds that are 100% forgivable if you follow the rules. And those rules are, if all your employees have been kept on payroll for at least 8 weeks and the money is used for payroll, rent, mortgage interest, or utilities, then this loan can be 100% forgivable through the Paycheck Protection Program. Lenders were allowed to submit applications as of yesterday morning, I believe at 10:30 a.m. The website crashed, I think like 3 minutes later. There have been reports that there have been over 1 million applicants that have been queued up for over $100 billion in asking for funds as of 10:30 yesterday morning. So there's this huge backlog of people who are trying to apply for this program because the original funds of $349 billion dried up within less than 2 weeks. I expect this new infusion of funds of $310 billion will be dried up in a matter of days. They just have this long backlog of people who have already applied, already been approved by their lender, and they just need to send it to the SBA for their approval, just like me, for example. But if you haven't already applied, you better do so as soon as possible. Otherwise, the funds are going to dry up in a matter of days. And by the way, you can even apply through PayPal, for example. You don't have to just go to your local bank that you have your business account with. There's been reported that over 175 publicly traded companies like Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Shake Shack, have received over $650 million worth of PPP funds this month. $650 million through companies that are publicly traded, which is absolutely ridiculous. This also includes the LA Lakers, who received, I believe it was $4 million in funds. Don't quote me on that. I believe that's right. There was a loophole in the legislation for the PPP program, and that's why they were actually legally able to get these funds, even though they should have been sent to small businesses. The loophole was, let me quote, this is for accommodation and food service businesses with at least one physical location and employs less than 500 employees per location. So obviously, like a company like Ruth Chris Steakhouse, they have less than 500 employees that work at each of their restaurants. However, they have a ton of different restaurants across the country, and that's why they were able to get $20 million through the PPP program, which is absolutely ridiculous. Why am I mentioning this again? And that is because the SBA has issued new guidance as to how they're going to handle this, and this is in conjunction with the U.S. Department of Treasury. So it says here the borrowers still must certify in good faith that their PPP loan request is necessary. It says that before submitting the PPP application, all borrowers should review carefully the required certification that, quote, current economic uncertainty makes this loan request necessary to support the ongoing operations of the applicant. Borrowers must make the certification in good faith, keyword, good faith, taking into account their current business activity and their ability to access other sources of liquidity. It is unlikely that a public company with substantial market value and access to capital markets will be able to make the required certification in good faith and such a company should be prepared to demonstrate to the SBA upon request the basis for its certification. It goes on to say that any borrower that applied for a PPP loan prior to the issuance of this guidance and repays the loan in full by May 7th, which is a week from this video, will be deemed by the SBA to have made the required certification in good faith. So what does this mean for these publicly traded companies that received over $650 million worth of PPP funds? It means the money is due by May 7th. That's what it means. In addition, Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin stated that any small businesses that received more than $2 million in PPP funds will get a full audit to make sure they are valid. There's that. All right, let's talk about the EIDL, or the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And by the way, if you're getting a lot of value out of this video so far, please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Videos like these tend to take hours, so I greatly appreciate your support, and subscribe as well. So let's talk about the EIDL. So if you're not familiar, the EIDL, of course, is the up to $10,000. That's 100% forgivable for $1,000 per employee. So if you're an independent contractor, you have no employees, you are your own employee, so you're one employee, you should get $1,000. And this is basically free money if you apply and get approved. So this is a program that's on a first come, first serve basis. And at the time of this video, they are not accepting any new application. It actually says online that SBA is unable to accept new applications at this time for the EIDL program based upon available appropriations funding. Applicants who have already submitted their applications will continue to be processed on a first come, first serve basis. So they were supposed to open up their portal yesterday, like the PPP, what people were assuming, but obviously they have a backlog of people who have already applied for EIDL. And so they want to process all the applications they have now because they haven't gone through them yet. All right, let's talk about the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, and that's called the PUA. This is also part of the CARES Act. States are slowly rolling out the availability of applying to this program. So in California, they actually are allowing people to apply this morning, as of 8 o'clock this morning. I think it was something like that. So let's just talk about the benefits of the program. So it applies up to 39 weeks of benefits, starting with weeks of unemployment beginning February 2nd of this year. And then also an additional $600 per week can be added as well. And that's between March 29th and July 25th. And that is that federal program, part of the CARES Act, that gave a boost of $600 per week to the unemployment assistance program. So that federal boost is still part of this PUA program. It also says that benefits can be retroactive 2 weeks starting on or after February 2nd. So if you apply today, get accepted today, then you can get, and your income has been affected starting February 2nd, you can get retroactive pay for those time period. So eligibility, this is for business owners, those who are self-employed, and independent contractors. If you work as an independent contractor, you also may be eligible for PUA benefits. So I'll read you what it says. It says you may qualify for PUA benefits if you are unemployed, partially employed, or unable or unavailable to work because the COVID-19 public health emergency has severely limited your ability to continue performing your customary work activities and has therefore forced you to stop working. So if that applies to you and you're an independent contractor, you may want to apply for the PUA benefit program. Those would be for people who are Uber or Lyft drivers, real estate agents, commercial brokers, etc. If you live in California, you can apply online as of this morning, which is the 28th of April, as of 8 a.m. this morning. But there's been reports that the system has been crashing multiple times. So just keep tabs on that. Okay, so the big question is, of course, on the PUA is how much are you going to get paid through this program? And that the answer is it varies by the state. So in California, it's about $167 per week as a base pay, but it varies by state. States like New York have a lot higher base pay per week. So just check with your state's guidelines on that. Basically, you must self-certify every 2 weeks and just answer some basic questions to determine if your eligibility level. It takes about a week after you certify in order to receive your first benefit payment. In addition, the initial payments, at least in California, are $167 per week for each week that you're unemployed, starting from February 2nd to March 28th. On phase 2, it is $167 per week plus an additional $600 per week because of that federal boost from the period of March 29th to July 25th. After July 25th to December 26th, it goes back down to $167 per week in California because that federal boost of $600 per week falls off on July 25th. But again, this is just the initial payments. If you make more than the minimum, you may get more than the $167 per week in California. Obviously, if you're a millionaire, you're probably not going to get any unemployment assistance whatsoever. It's also important to note that the unemployment insurance is actually taxable money at the federal level, but it varies by the state for the state taxation. In California, for example, it is not taxable income, but just know that on this federal level, you are going to get taxed on this money. So just talk to your accountant about that. And by the way, if you're interested about how this pandemic is affecting our real estate market, I have a bunch of videos on my channel about that. So I invite you to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button too. That helps support this channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.